Right, hey, good morning. How are you all doing? My name's Electric Johnny Hat. Just rolling a cigarette. Was it Thursday today? The 21st? Yeah, Thursday the 21st, and it's around, I think it's around 10 o'clock, 10 a.m, which is early. Let's move this. So the other day, I'd done that talk. And I went over, which I'm going to go over again in a second, about the big steps, the giant big steps that were just made for agriculture. Went over the Poseidon, which I'm very definitely interested, so we'll read that out again. Yeah, I think that's definitely the submarine is definitely being used in the same way as the god Poseidon, using his trident to create havoc, destruction. Yeah. So I was happy about everything I'd done there, that I read out, even Napoleon. These are just theories, obviously, stuff that you hear. Obviously we know about we're getting to learn about our history is just complete rubbish, So if it did turn out that Napoleon was actually fake as well, and it was all just down to the son of the Apollo, the worship of the son Apollo. Now that would be really interesting, and it would make a lot of sense, because it does seem a lot of our history now is being related to other things, which all comes down to the ritual thing again. It's all rituals, isn't it? So I was happy about reading all that stuff out the other day, and I'm probably going to read it out again in a minute. But then I got onto the information of the blue light. Of the blue light, how it's working on us, and even in sort of nature, how it works with us and our pineal gland. This is the blue light. So I had to scrub it all because of that reason, because when I started reading all that, and this probably happens to a lot of researchers as well, as you're researching something and you posted it, you're happy with it, and then you post it, you do the video, the talk, post it up, and as you're watching it back, you're like, okay, well, I missed out that, I could have said this, I could have said that. And then my brain started ticking over, about this information that I've read out. And I just thought, well, I've got to take the video down, And the funny thing is, right, the video is doing well on TikTok. It's got a few likes on TikTok. It got likes on YouTube. And then a lot of people started watching it on my Rumble channel as well. But people were liking the talk. But I had to scrub it. I had to, because my brain's ticking over, just like the wheels in my head were ticking over. You know, every researcher in science is like this. You only got to get a trigger of something, and then it's, a good trigger of something, and it's thrown into it's manifested into your brain, isn't it? Your subconscious mind, or your front of your conscious mind, and you're like, well, okay, now I've just got a load more information. That's where it's been sent to me through the Akashic records, the intuition bank, I don't know. But my brain started ticking over like the Antikythera mechanism. And I was like, right. And then I sat back and I was thinking about the Antikythera mechanism. And I was thinking, now what if the Antikythera mechanism wasn't built for the external stars or planets? Because it was even pushed out that it wasn't a heliocentric mechanism. It was actually based on a geocentric mechanism, which we all went over. And everybody, that does their research on they've done their research on the Antikythera mechanism. And thought, okay, they're first saying it's heliocentric, now it's being pushed out as geocentric, and then originally they're saying it was actually geocentric, the original, who was done by Mr. Price. So what if the Antikythera mechanism isn't about heliocentrism or about geocentrism? What if it's about something completely different? What if the Greeks actually built it for something completely different? Maybe it was actually built on the mind. It was built for on the basically the pineal gland, the brain and the pineal gland. So the wheels that are turning are the wheels that are turning of the Antikythera mechanism that are it's actually working as the same way as the pineal gland will work anyway. I've got a video I'm going to play after this, so I'm going to let you watch it. I made it last night, just where my brain just keeps ticking over, and I'm like, right, this is absolutely nuts. I mean, even though it's hypothetical, it's just a theory, it's just assumptions, it's speculation from me. I actually think it goes a bit further than speculation, to be honest with you, of scrubbing of what the Antikythera mechanism, what the mainstream tell us. Because everything that, especially with science, that everything that the mainstream tell us, it ends up being completely shut down because it actually means something completely different. And we see this time and time again, all the time. So the dome that you've got in your head, I've got a video as well showing the dome, and obviously the sun that rises up in the east. We know the sun rises up in the east. This all goes back to Christ Christos as well, where the sun comes up from the left hemisphere. So yeah, which just pushes it all back for me back down to the Kybalion law of everything comes from self, everything comes from the mind, everything is projected from the mind. And then I heard a great researcher. Now that woman I was talking about the other day, see if I can find her name. She was on TFH, was Marion Heinian, if I said that right. Marion Heinian, where she'd done the thing on Derek, I can't breathe and all that. But she also talked about living on it. She's been doing research on the simulation, like a lot of people have. Everyone's been working on the simulation where everything does actually come from the mind, the Kybalion law. So I went through the flat earth, the concave earth, the spinning ball, obviously, learned all that stuff in school. The concave earth. So I've been through all these, and I was not happy with any of them. Even though I put in time and research into them, and then I wasn't happy with them at all. So I thought there's got to be something else going on. So I started going into the Kybalion law and looking into this way of the simulation-based thing, of the virtual reality-based thing, the goggles that we have, the virtual goggles that we have. That every morning that we wake up after our sleep, we've been energized. And then we wake up and then we have a virtual projection of the next 12 hours of the day, which puts it down to projection. Yeah, all coming from the pineal gland. So what if the pineal gland is just another thing for the Antikythera mechanism? And I know it sounds absolutely nuts what I'm saying. So back to the meme that I put out. Take both pills to make green. Take both pills to make green. The colour of nature. It's the least demanding of all the colours and is very restful on the eye. It's all about the balance of the green. Green is balance. The right in between. So if the red energy and the blue energy merge together, it will make the mid-gain, which is the green, the nature. Which also means that once it goes into mid-gain, which means it will be easier to go through sort of buildings or things of nature like trees, plants, trees, whatever. So whatever a medium flow. So green is the balance right in between. So in antenna communications, this translates into mid-gain and results in the radiation pattern that represents the donut shape of the toroidal. Now, I see other researchers have already jumped on this and gone their own way, and they're putting it down to the light spectrum, which is not the light spectrum. It's to do with radiation and through the pineal gland, of what I'm trying to work out of the blue light and how the blue light is worked out, which I will come to in a second. But this is not about the light spectrum, this is about the radiation. So please, well, other people can do what they want, but they're running off and using purples. So they've took it as literal that I was talking about the light spectrum where the blue and the red mix together to make green. Well, of course it doesn't go like that, it works out to be purple. But I wasn't talking about the light spectrum, I'm talking about the radiation that works through the pineal gland, which now I'm coming to of research and thinking, because of my crazy brain, that the pineal gland, or should we say the Antikythera mechanism, is just another thing or another word for the pineal gland, what the ancients used, which just happens to be the Greeks, the ones that come up with the Antikythera mechanism anyway. And I hear even by now there's a lot more though they found. So in telecommunications, this translates into mid-gain and results in the radiation pattern that represents the donut shape or the toroidal field, which is the infinity sign, which is the sideways 8, the symbol of the sideways 8. A medium gain antenna at 6.65.1 decibels I think that's what it means, has more rounded, wider pattern than a high gain antenna. This means the signal is less likely to be obstructed by obstacles such as buildings, trees and mountains, like I just said, where the trees and mountains are forces of nature, will just be nature, so will come under the green. Which is why it's easier for the red and the blue of low energy or waves that can run through mountains and trees anyway, because of the mid-gain. A medium gain antenna, then a high gain antenna. This means the signal is less likely to be obstructed by the obstacles such as buildings, trees and mountains. Antenna propagate energy into lobes proportion to the gain and more focused on the beam in one direction. The gain is used to determine directivity of the radiation pattern, which is gain operates directivity. Some might say that this may be God. The body heat is the infrared. Our body heat shows the infrared. We know we have infrared, goes through our body. The body's blue light and the activation. So the body's heat is infrared. The body's blue light is the activation. So, in meditation, the act of contracting the muscles along with the holding of your breath, this is in meditation, will then begin to push the cerebral spinal fluid right up against the crystals of the pineal gland and apply a stress, a mechanical stress. The mechanical stress begins to electrically activate these crystals. And when those crystals become electrical activated, we are turning on the radio receivers in the brain. So the blue light is contracted of the cerebral spinal fluid that is actually being pushed up against the pineal gland to create the blue light. Which is obviously nature, which is right, which is good. So the meditation, the act of contracting them muscles along with the holding of your breath in meditation will then begin to push the cerebral spinal fluid right up against the crystals of the pineal gland and apply a mechanical stress. The mechanical stress begins to electrically activate those crystals, and when the crystals become electrically activated, we are turning on the radio receivers in the brain. The body's blue light. So if you look at the Antikythera mechanism, I'm going to show you the video after. I'll show you in a minute anyway, because I'm nearly done here. Because all I wanted to do was a little bit of talking on this and basically correct, or maybe it was my fault that I've put out information that people have took the wrong way and used it as a light spectrum, and it's not actually the light spectrum. We're talking about radiation itself and how things run through the pineal gland to create the blue light, which is what we're talking about. So it's not to do with the colour spectrum, the light spectrum. Not in this instance, because it's to do with the red and blue of low energy and high energy, which come out in waves, because everything, as we all know, is waves. So back again, so if you look at the Antikythera mechanism and the way it's been constructed and put together, obviously it's been redesigned now based on the original that was found. The original Antikythera mechanism, as we all know by now, had over 50 cogs, but they were all worn down. So what the powers had to do, once they come across, they found the Greek timepiece, the Antikythera mechanism, they took it to a lab and they had to build a machine, a 3D machine. They built this 3D machine just for the Antikythera mechanism, the Greek timepiece, so they could find out, because they didn't know at that time, all it had was a few cogs on it that were all worn down because it's been at the bottom of the ocean. So they took it and they redesigned it to find how. So through the 3D machine that they built, they then worked out that the Antikythera mechanism had 50 cogs on it. So they could build a construction of what it actually is, and they come up with a construction. Now what I see on the Antikythera mechanism on the front part is based on the front of the two eyeballs. And then everything is working from the optic nerves behind. So if you look at the Antikythera mechanism, it's like a square box. Turn it to the side, and in the square box it has the 50 cogs, but you have 2 cogs on the outside. So you have the 2 main ones, like the 2 main eyes on the Antikythera mechanism here. Now running behind the 2 eyes on the Antikythera mechanism is based on what I believe is it's based on the pineal gland and how the wheels are turning of the optic nerves. So everything works through the optic nerves that is shown on the Antikythera mechanism, but everything is shown on front base of the 2 eyes. Everything behind it, like we have in our own head here, on a machine of our eyes, and on the back of the eyes we have the optic nerves that are connected to the brain. So again, is the Antikythera mechanism, was it based on heliocentrism of the external? Or was it actually based on something a lot different, which is based on the internal biologies? I believe it is. I do believe it is. I really do believe it is. The gain is used to determine directivity of the radiation pattern gain. Operates directivity. Some might say that they may be God. If this is true, then it blows everything else out of the water that comes down back basically to heliocentrism and geocentrism and everything working on the external source. Because everything does come back to a projection, and we know that the wheels that are turning on the back of the brain, the pineal gland, and the mechanical system, i.e. the Antikythera mechanism. And as we can see, I'm going to show the video now anyway. I just wanted to say all that. Basically correct it, because I think other people have taken this research and used it in other ways of using the colour spectrum and putting blue together with red to make purple, which is not what I was doing. I'm talking about radiation of the pineal gland and how radiation radiates through the pineal gland to create the blue light, which is actually created through the cerebral spinal fluid being pushed up and pressed against the pineal gland itself to create that blue light. Do you get me?